cool. Scott, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate that. I've only met you a few times. I've seen you, spoke to you, and you're always so positive, and that's what I really like about you, actually. I commented earlier on your smile. I feel like that really stands out, and for me, that's a really important thing, that when I meet people, you smile hello, you smile goodbye. It just like brings up your day, I think. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate that.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
It's cool. So would you mind introducing yourself for everybody, please?
Yeah, certainly. So, yes, Scott, based in Glasgow. Yeah, 30 years old, two young, beautiful girls, aged 1 and, well, 3, soon to be 4. I'm a property developer and have a property investment company. I also have a gas company as well.
Oh, okay.
Gas engineer to trade. Also got a gas company which started recently. I've been full-time in property and self-employed for the last just about a year and a half, just going on about a year and a half. Before that, I worked as a sales and project manager for British Gas for 11 years. So that started as a job to just 6 months bridge the gap, get out the house because I had been sacked from my apprenticeship.
Okay.
And my mum actually applied for that job for me to get me out of the house, and it was a 6 months till I figured out what I wanted to do, and ended up being there and just climbing the corporate ladder for 11 years. So I mean
Cool.
that led me to where I am just now.
Excellent. So what is it that turned you into a full-time property developer? How did you make that shift?
So as I was saying, I worked in British Gas for 11 years, and you've probably seen a lot, obviously, in the news and the media just now. British Gas for the past 5 years, really good company to work for, but I had been through 2 redundancies, and on the third time round was paid off, and that's when I met my fiance. She worked in British Gas as well, at a different area. Both of us were sales managers, decent salary, kind of comfortable, going away on holiday. So it was fairly comfortable, but I always knew that that's the word. It was just comfortable. It's a good salary, nice car, going away on holiday. It was fine, but I always just had the itch of, I was always coming up with crazy ideas. Started an astrograss company, try to develop a game to sell at Christmas, just constantly coming up with different business ideas, and then
Mhm.
always had a kind of idea and a passion for property. My fiance's dad got his own construction firm, so that kind of whet the appetite a bit more. And then I get paid off, and Siobhan, my fiance, was 7 months pregnant with our second girl. Both of us at that point were unemployed. And the lead up to getting made redundant, I had been approached to go and work for another company, headhunted basically to go and work for a big logistics firm as a key account manager. And literally, so I finished on the Thursday, went in there on the Monday, get handed the keys to a nice company car, nice office, decent salary, and within 10 minutes, I was just like, I can't do the whole corporate 9 to 5 thing again. And literally within 10 minutes, made up my mind that I was going to start looking for the exit. And that's when I started taking. I know, I shouldn't really say that, but I still put in the hours and the effort when I was there. But I was out of there within 4 or 5 months, put the foundations in place to go and give the property full time. And I started looking into it a bit more around what you could do in terms of investing and investing for other people, and kind of seen that I had an eye for being able to network and find access to projects and find access to funding. So as well as put my own money in, I was able to go and make money through starting an investment company.
Yeah.
And really, it was basically just backs to the wall, because as I say, my fiance, we had our second wee girl, and I remember saying to her, I'm going to take all the money that's been put away for the wedding, and and
I bet
I
that went
remember,
really well, eh?
ah, to be fair, she's amazing. She is. She's a tremendous human being. But I remember her looking at me and going, like I could tell she was a bit like, right, I know that's fine, but I was just like, right, trust me, give me 6 months, took all the redundancy money, took the money for the wedding, and then just basically went and just worked hard, and it's been okay. The first years went well, so.
That's brilliant. And that must have been so scary for yourself and your partner. That must, yeah, that must,
Mm.
can't even imagine what that's like. Because obviously, you've got some people trying to get into property that don't have any money, but you had a pot, but you needed that pot, right? Especially as you were both out of work. That must be a very scary place to be in.
Definitely, it wasn't that much, to be honest with you. It was because of our age, the way the redundancy works, the actual payment we got for getting made redundant wasn't that great, um, between the both of us. And then there was a little bit of money put away for, as I say, because we have our weddings next year. So it wasn't, especially when you factor in no salary coming in, nursery fees, which are obviously quite high, and mortgages, and that
Yeah,
starts to dwindle pretty quick. So, and I put a lot of money into educating myself before starting, and marketing, and made monumental errors that
really.
cost quite a bit. Yeah, oh no, I lost a lot of money in
Okay.
marketing and websites, and just making poor decisions. But no,
Is it too bad if I ask you to share with us like something that was a big mistake that but you learned a lot from it?
yeah, no, it's fine. No, of course. I think that just I've got a kind of personality of, and this helped, of all or nothing. Like fully going for it. But I think at the start, just like not doing proper due diligence on marketing companies.
Okay.
Maybe not putting as much, like just now. I put so much due diligence into people
Mm.
as well as projects. So actual spending the time to get to know people, and looking into their background, and actually getting a feel for what they're like as a person,
Mm.
and how they operate, and is that going to be the right fit. And I've learned that very, very quickly. But like, I remember, I think I put in 7 grand to a marketing company at one point with zero return, which
Right.
is a horrendous investment.
Yeah.
And I probably shouldn't say that in this interview, but no, it wasn't great. But like that, I learned from that so quickly, and it's allowed me to streamline everything that I do just now. Luckily, nothing that's been catastrophic, but quite a few steep learning curves. And like, especially with property, I'm of the mindset that, like, there's obviously the saying is, oh, you always learn from your mistakes, but I don't want to learn from my own mistakes if they're going to be super costly. I
Yeah.
would rather connect and network with the right people that are 20 years ahead of me or further down the path,
Yeah.
and learn from their mistakes. So I put a lot of focus on surrounding myself with super successful people that I can tap into their knowledge, and tap into the mistakes that they've made, and try and prevent myself from doing that.
That's fantastic. And are there a few people that you kind of look to for help all the time? Do you have like a mentor or something, or it's just about general conversations and talking to lots of people?
Yeah, so I've ramped this up in the last this year, especially in the last 3 months. Currently working with 3 mentors
Okay.
for all different parts of my life and business.
Hmm.
Um, I've had a mentor for since, more or less, since I started. Um, but as I've said, I've looked at what areas of business and life, even just, well, 4 if you count a PT, just trying to look at every aspect of my life, and how can I squeeze and tap into as much knowledge. So whether that be from a kind of spiritual and calming influence, and trying to look at what that part looks in my life, and make sure that I'm in the right, like, obviously, because a great believer in, your business can only grow to the same extent that you do,
Yeah.
which is why I put so much time and effort into trying to educate myself and work on my self development, and speak to people that can assist with that. And then more business mentors, who can help look at how your business is set up, how you can grow and scale up in the right manner. And then someone who helps. I'm quite a motivated person, very motivated, but it's always good to have that additional accountability and have your check-ins and have people looking at, are you, so I meant to look at what are we doing? Are we working smart enough as opposed to hard enough? So yeah, I put a lot of focus on that.
That's good. And for me personally as well, I think, like you were saying earlier, I don't know if we were recording at that point, you were saying like you're quite creative, you come up with ideas all the time. That's like me. I'm always like, oh, we could do this, or I could do that, or I could do that. But getting that business sense of how you actually do it, for me, I struggle with that bit. Did you
Yeah.
struggle with that area, or you feel quite easy with the business side of it?
But well, having worked in an organisation of the size of, say, the British Gas for so long, I always had that business mindset. But it's different when you're growing your own business, because working for an established business as a project manager, I would get given obviously a budget and outcomes and KPIs, and so you're working to solid business metrics. So I understand it and always did understand it. But again, it's different when you're trying to scale your own business up from the ground. So it has been helpful. But as I touched on earlier, like I would work hard. I've always been hardworking and motivated, but it's finding those things that streamline the business.
Yeah.
Because like if it needs to be done, it needs to be done. But if you need to work 16, 17, 18-hour days now and again, but like let's be honest, the balance is key. So having a young family, I don't want to be working every hour under the sun. I want to be scaling a business, but also having time to make sure that you're keeping your mind in check and doing the things that you love doing.
Yeah. You mentioned obviously that like how much money it's put in, and you've been doing this full time for a year, and that you are getting married soon. So you managed to get back the money in 1 year so that you could get married. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Good.
that's going all right. No, we're definitely on the right path. Thankfully, because I don't think there would have been a wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's going all right.
But that's good, because in the first year of business, like a lot of people don't succeed. A lot of people make a loss in the first year. So um, what do you think were some pivotal things that helped you be successful in that first year that maybe some other people haven't done, perhaps?
I think I put a lot of this down to having worked in a sales environment. I posted about this a few times, but the other day talking about it. When I touched on when I left I say when I left as if I had a choice. When I was told to leave my apprenticeship when I was 17, and I went into a sales job, very quickly realised that I had a knack for selling, which I always think is so underrated. People view it as sometimes a negative thing, but I think that it's an art. One, like fully understanding it, and I've spent a lot of time educating myself around selling and different techniques, and actually being able to sell yourself, your business, or your product, whatever that may be. But obviously, with that comes endless amounts of rejection, and knockbacks and setbacks. And I mean, I've done it all. I've done cold calling, warm sales, cold. Um, I've went kind of selling central heating systems, getting into people's houses, and just getting days and days and days of rejection. And I think it just you become thick-skinned. So, and I think in business that's like there's not much that could, not really any rejection that I would that lasts long. Like I'm very very quick at being able to kind of change the jigsaw piece and figure out, well, it didn't work like that. Well, maybe I'll try it like that, and so it's the kind of, I suppose, relentless need to just move on to the next thing. And if something didn't work, or if a deal fell through, or if I did lose a bit of money in doing something, or like marketing, then I would think, well, that never worked. So at least I now know what doesn't work, and I've eliminated one thing. So I think that helped, obviously, because I never ever really spend much time focusing on what's not happened, or
Mm.
always just on to the next thing, which I think you need, because a lot of people struggle, I think, with that, because if you get 10, 15, 20 things that don't happen, or Kevin Hart talks about this, like when you wake up after trying so hard and you wake up the next day and you're no further forward. You're just in the exact same place, but you know you've tried everything for 12 hours or 14 hours a day before, then being able to do the same again the next day, I think that's been key. To get up and try just as hard or harder than the day before, knowing that you've not moved forward any.
I can totally relate to that yeah, it's hard to be resilient because it is like you feel like you're working, you're not getting there. And you talk to people and they say, but that just means you're that little bit step closer. You just got to keep going. You got to keep going. And it's really hard to know, should you keep going or is it not working because it's not gonna work? Do you know what I mean? It's hard to be able to tell, but
No, I think like it comes down to, so everybody's motivated when you start a business. Everyone's motivated, or anything when you say like, I know I've done this millions of times, and most people you go, right, I'm going to get in the best shape of my life, and you're so motivated for 2 weeks, and you think this is amazing, and then the third week hits, and you're like, don't really have that motivation anymore. But then the discipline needs to kick in at that point. And I always think it's the same in business, and like you were saying, I think being able to realize what's not worked, because a lot of people do the same thing over and over and over and over again, but don't get a different result. Whereas I always try and reflect on, if something's not working and I know I'm trying my heart, then why is it not working? Is there just maybe a little tweak needing done, or a different strategy, or do you need to continue working as hard but completely change the route that you're going? So like the destination never changes, but I always a great believer in there could be 6 million different roads. So you might need to travel up half of them before you find the one that leads to where you're going.
cool. That's good advice. Thank you. And in terms of that, you've got a couple of businesses. How do you distribute your time to know when you spend time on which one? How do you do that?
A lot better now. Recently,
Practice.
yeah, I'll put it this way, that's a lot of just for men in this hair. That was going severely grey. No,
Oh,
but
no.
a lot better now. Like I'll put a lot of that down to my fiance for a start, because she works with me now, and she's phenomenal, and she's so organised, like super organised. I'm organised to a point, but I now know exactly where I am at what point of the week, and getting better at not getting distracted, because it's difficult when you're of your own business, because phone calls are coming in, emails, and trying not to be a slave to your emails or your phone. So I know at a Monday between 9 and 11, that's when I'm in my gas team meeting. I know what needs done, and just trying to get better at prioritising, organising. So like I basically live off of different trackers, and just trying to be suitable. As I say, Siobhan's been a massive help with myself, my other business partner in property, and Imran, who I do the gas with. Just looking at what systems and processes are in place, because I think for a long time that there is a bit of you're working hard but maybe not just as smart. So looking, always refining the systems and processes that we've got in place, which isn't the most glamorous bit of the business, but I found so key, so key.
And working with Siobhan, that must be like, obviously you live together, you work together, like that must create like just intensity sometimes, right? Or you just breathe. You speak about her so highly. I must say well done. Like how nice. I don't hear people talk about their partners so nicely sometimes.
No, she's amazing. No, she is. She's amazing. But no, it's actually okay, because it's recently, especially, we've got an office now. Siobhan she'll work from home, so yeah, it's actually all right. Like it doesn't really, because she does all the, so like I know where my skill set lies, she knows where her skill set lies, and like she's super organised. She does all the in-house accounts, the invoicing, all the kind of paperwork stuff, and all the stuff that I hated doing. And obviously we worked not together, but in the same company,
Okay.
in the same building, different floors, different bits. So I would see her at work sometimes, and because we worked for the same company, like, and we were both sales managers, we'd be at the same conferences, sometimes be at the same meetings. So we've kind of just been used to it because we had it for 5 years. So
Yeah,
it's not as if we were in different organisations. So our chat would sometimes be the same because we work in the same company. So yeah, so we're kind of used to it. But
that's good. That is really good. I can't imagine working with my partner. I think we would blow each other's mind.
yeah.
So tell me about a project that you've got going on, a development project that you're working on at the moment.
So we've got just now towards the end of last year we had 6 residential on properties on the market. It all kind of seemed to bottleneck with a few running over, and obviously the pandemic and a few fell through. So we got rid of all them, which was great. Obviously the way the market is just now, it's pretty buoyant. And it's allowed us to focus on the commercial to residential
Mm-hmm.
stuff that we're doing. So we've got 3 commercial to residential projects running just now. One that's a couple of weeks that I was telling you about today, I think, before we came on, that's ran over, but that's a couple of weeks away from finishing. That's an old farm building we've converted into 3 flats. The beauty of that one, it's already been sold about a month ago prior to even going to market, and investors came in and bought all 3 units.
Brilliant.
We have a commercial to residential running in a town called Paisley, just outside of Glasgow, which just got voted the number one hotspot for growth by Rightmove in the UK,
Okay.
which is good considering we're doing quite a statement development in the town centre. That's an old office block over 3 old listed buildings, stunning building actually. And with that, we're converting that into 5 units. And just this week, we've completed on a doctor's surgery in Stirling, which is overlooked by Stirling Castle. Again, lovely, lovely area. And that's going to be 3 high-end flats as well. So
And do you find these deals yourself, or do people bring them to you?
both, both. So the Paisley one we found ourselves and negotiated. Um, the one in Ayrshire was brought by someone and similar in Stirling, but again, brought by someone who the relationship's been brewing for a year.
Mm-hmm.
So again, just as we touched on, the power of relationships. Obviously, I know we see online and we're in similar um, areas online, but just the power of nurturing a relationship and networking and building on that it does help, especially when the market's the way it is just now, where everybody's looking for good deals. If you can get to the foot of the river, then it's it's valuable.
Yeah, exactly. And when you are negotiating a deal, kind of what's your kind of criteria? Like what makes a deal and what makes it just nah, it's not worth it.
So again, just governed by the numbers, something that I've learned very, very quickly. Before we even look at the aesthetics of a building or even look at anything, we we try and look at the spreadsheet first.
Hmm.
So just work off a spreadsheet and be super as tight as possible. Because I think you can sometimes people can get drawn in by the emotion of, but it might or it could, or we try to work off the facts. So we have our benchmarks of the percentage of profit where we need it to be to even look at it. We can normally tell within 15 minutes of punching the numbers in and doing a few calculations where we'll be able to figure out what the profit looks like on the end value and the GDV. So, and again, if it falls even 1% below that, we'll be strict because that's where the bar is. Because I think once you start lowering that and going, oh, is it worth taking a little chance on? And then you maybe run into something, maybe something unforeseen, because you'll know yourself in property, there's so many things that can catch you out. So I think if you start lowering the bar and then maybe something happens and something unforeseen, then you can cause yourself a whole host of problems. But again, that's been from learning from other people's mistakes, but also from learning that ourselves the hard way a few times.
Yeah. And where you said you work with investors, right? It's not always your own money, is it? So
Yeah.
you've got to factor that in as well as your own profit and as well as just for
Of course.
unforeseeable problems. So You've got to make
exactly.
sure it works. Yeah.
Well, definitely, I think especially when you're working with investors, you've got a duty of care to them,
Yeah.
obviously, to present the the deal in such a way that it gives them confidence, but also that it shows that you're capable and credible when it comes to that. But also, um, I think that's why we always build in quite a hefty contingency, because even if, which it's going to happen sometimes, things don't go as planned with the build, or you might need to change or change the layout, or there's millions of things that can happen. But you always just need to make sure that no matter what happens, your contingencies are strong. You've done your risk analysis, because at the end of the day, the investors are, you've got a duty of care to them as your client.
Yeah. You got to pay them back first before you pay yourself, right? So got to make sure there's enough left. That's cool. All right, cool. So we're going to finish up soon, but is there anything, if you wanted to put a message out there to anybody that was thinking of getting into this kind of industry, like what would be your top tips?
Um, Top tips for getting involved in property: make sure you're resilient, be prepared to go through 15 different emotions in a day.
In one day.
In one day, in one day. But most of all, I think, educate yourself by surrounding yourself with people who are further down the path, I think, and put so much focus on relationships. Like, the amount of opportunity that comes off the back of us making it our mission to sit with the right people. I'm not always going. It doesn't always. I'm not saying everybody you speak to, but you never know the the opportunity that's round the corner from simply having a conversation.
Mhm.
I mean, even today, on the back of one conversation, we got introduced to somebody who is going to be game changing for our business. The people that they can introduce to us, but also just the knowledge that they have, and the tools that they can assist us with. And
Yeah.
that was simply just off the back of making sure we were building relationships with the right people. So I think is so key. Obviously, things like doing your due diligence and making sure that you're doing the numbers, and don't get emotionally attached to projects, because as soon as you attach any emotion, then you're leaving yourself open to miss things. So I think, and a lot of people when they get involved in property, they understand that about um, and about obviously doing your numbers and doing your due diligence and making sure. But I suppose it just depends. It depends, because some people are happy to come in and maybe do a couple of flips a year, and that's amazing, and they'll have their set location in their area. Some people want to. I mean, like us, we've got quite big ideas and plans of what we want to do over the next 5 years and the next 10 years, to the point where it actually scares you a little bit.
Yeah.
And if you know, you're thinking, well, that seems huge, but um, do you need to back yourself? But I think if that is the route you want to go down, building relationships and putting and building value with people first before before anything else, I think it's would be the one thing, as well as be prepared to go on the roller coaster every day.
Cool. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today. And I can see you're at home right now already, right?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
home. Yeah,
So as soon as you get off this call, you're going to spend time with the kids?
yeah. They're in the bath just now, so they go to bed in 20 minutes, half an hour. So I'll get up and see them and
You
tune
better
into some Disney princess film before bedtime.
a nice princess film. That's
Yeah.
great. All
Uh,
right, then, mate.
Maybe Tarzan for the 1500th time this month, but
I'm a bit more of a Moana fan and a Frozen fan. I love
uh,
that.
super. I know. Try to get the old class. I'm trying to get Lion King and Toy
Yeah,
Story. My youngest likes Toy Story. Try to get all the ones I like, but it's not happening.
it's not
So,
happening.
no,
Mate,
no,
when they're
no.
a bit older, take them to Lion King the musical. That's amazing.
It's so good. I've seen it in Edinburgh twice.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, that's really good. So,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
no,
cool.
really, really loved
Well,
it.
thank you again. And yeah, go play with the princesses and we'll catch up again soon. All right.
No, definitely. We'll make it a point to do that. Thank you very much for taking the time out. I really enjoyed it.
No, so did I. Thank you so much, Scott. I'll see you.
Thank you, Shona. Take care. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Bye.